What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Profitable Properties YouTube channel, and we're back over at the Steve's house. That's what I'm calling it because that's who used to own it. These floors, absolutely incredible. The contractors have encapsulated all of the ceiling that was that asbestos, suspected asbestos tile. We weren't 100% sure whether it had asbestos in it, so we just encapsulate it with some drywall, texture it, and then they added this little quarter round to the edge, and that actually really kind of makes it look nice, along with the heavy texture, because before it looked like some kind of medieval illness, and now it's just, a heavily textured wall that should stand up a little bit better. The floor guy that was doing the sanding, he said that these are some very, very old pine floors, and he said people pay a ton of money for this stuff. So I think that should help, the value whenever we get it reappraised, and they look awesome as well. I'm really happy with the progress so far that I see with just the floors and the walls. It's a huge, huge difference. And I've been walking around the property and looking, and we have a few windows, like this one in particular, that has, it's broken, and the top is also kind of cracked. But if we're looking at it, the wood itself is actually in really good condition. From the house being still crooked and 100 years old, we still have these sections on top of the windows that are, they're gonna need to be filled with pieces that we cut at an angle so that the window can go all the way up to the stop and close properly and latch. You can see that they've built up this area so that the latch will come together, but it's not really doing its job. So we got a lot of work to do on these windows. Screw and glue these back together. As far as the glass goes on all these things, most of the windows in the upstairs units have intact glass. This one over here being the worst. What we're looking at doing is a lot of just stripping off paint and sanding. This stop right here can come off, but once we get it all broke away from the window, it's not going to need a ton. These windows, this glass has already been replaced once, and they removed this little center section here, which is crumbling. So I'm just going to go to the next step and remove all of the centers and put a single piece of glass in these. These are so rotten from so much years of, neglect. One of the other things that I noticed about this unit is that it has a 220 volt plug over here, which is awesome for a couple of different reasons, because I do want to get rid of the AC units in the window. We're going to put mini splits on. It's, I guess, the new version of the window unit, but it just doesn't look as terrible and it doesn't wreck your windows. So we'll install a mini split here, but it's already wired for 220, which is awesome, because that means that we can put a slightly bigger unit in here. We can put one AC unit per living unit, and it should be able to heat and cool the entire area, and it'll keep us off of the gas. And the thing that makes me nervous about the gas is people from the generation when this house was built, they knew how to use these in-wall gas valves and those little heaters, but kids of my generation and younger have no idea how to be safe with these kind of old school gas things. So for liability's sake, I'd like to cap these off so that we're not using this gas. Now obviously we're going to keep the stove as gas and the hot water heaters as gas because it's the most effective use in my opinion, but to do it, having somebody plug in and be responsible for hooking up their own gas appliance, that sounds like a liability issue to me. So in the kitchens of both of these units, we're nowhere near done with these. I have this really nice vinyl laminate plank, which is super dirty at the moment, installed over the kitchen floor, just because the kitchen floor was a lot more rough because they had put linoleum and all kinds of stuff all over it. So in the wet areas, we went with a vinyl laminate plank. And that's, speaking of the wet areas, here's the bathroom. Now last time you saw this bathroom, it was still completely intact, but you can see all the layers of floor that have lived here. There's mouse poop even in between those layers of floor. We've got parquet laminate, we've got another layer of flooring, then we've got this asbestos tile. It's just all not good. But in this area right here, all these boards were so freaking rotten. This is what knob and tube wiring looks like right here. In case you've never seen it, you see these little insulators right here. It's all knob and tube wiring. It's not used in the house anymore, but it is left in the walls. So So you'll see a lot of insulators like that one right there. They're still working on shoring up this floor. They've replaced a lot of the joists under here because they were so rotten and disgusting. It was pretty unsafe. I had mentioned it to the previous homeowner in another video, and I had mentioned it to you guys in pretty much every video, and also to the program manager for the program that's supposed to be overseeing the low-income housing portion of this house. They've been out to lunch for decades. I've got my guys here, my contractor. They're awesome. They're knocking this out, and they're making it safe for the future. This unit down here looks a lot the same as it did before. Not a lot of work's been done on it because it's really kind of been the workshop for the area. In fact, the things that we have done are a lot with the foundation. New foundation beams have been installed. This wall that was previously basically unsupported is now has not only a new beam underneath it, but it's got a new joist underneath it as well. This door looks like somebody tried to rip it off the hinges while I was gone. Not surprised. Seems like the guys kind of nailed this up here to try to keep folks out, which I really appreciate. This window right here is probably going to go away completely. It's kind of in an unfortunate position because I want the wall right here. So I'll probably pull this window out completely. And then this window may or may not be code for the fact that this is going to be a bedroom. I might need to put a bigger one in there, so we might have to rob one from here, which is okay because we're gonna have some kitchen countertops right here, and we don't need these big of windows anyways. So we might just do a little swap. A lot more work than it's probably worth, to be honest. A fair amount of work has gone on in this particular unit though. The contractor had a pretty brilliant idea to kind of clean up our plumbing and electrical system, plumbing and gas system. Oh, there used to be a built-in here, that's neat. Huh. Basically, this door and this area right here is going to be turned into a mechanical room. We're going to run all 4 hot water heaters in here. Gas is going to be run from the gas meters on the other side of the house, drug this way, run underneath the house up to our 4 gas meters, or our 4 hot water heaters, and that way we keep all the water, all the things that need to be accessed by property management into one small area, so we don't have to have people busting into each unit to try to service, you know, the water heaters. Also, if there is an issue with a leak, then it can be taken care of more easily in just this small area than damaging, you know, potentially an upstairs unit, or like there is right now, a hot water heater in the attic, and having that leak down on everything. Another thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to remove and replace all of these gross ceiling tiles. You know, some have been replaced probably due to leaks. There's probably, you know, decades worth of mouse poo and who knows what else up above this stuff. So before we get to the floors down here, we'll have to rip off all of these ceiling tiles. Really, these windows look, that window is trashed. So this is probably the worst window in the property, at least as far as the frame goes. You can see they've been trying to booger it up. So if I got a piece of cracked glass, I'll probably take this piece of glass and transfer it. Really, what might happen with this window in particular, and the same one on the other side, is we might go ahead and just replace it completely, because, or block it off completely, because it is kind of unnecessary to have this great view of the driveway and the neighbor's window. I feel like 1 was probably good enough, 2 maybe a little bit overkill. We could probably go with 0 and get away with it because we still have egress from here, plenty of light, plenty of ventilation. With this entrance area here, I very highly doubt that the floors are going to be salvageable in any way, shape, or form. So I've also bought the same kind of flooring that's going to go in the kitchens and bathrooms of each one of these units to put in here as well, especially if it's a high traffic area coming off the street with wet feet, kids, you know, so on and so forth. I want to make sure that it lasts for a while. Apparently there's a problem with people trying to trespass, so we've had to secure it the best way they can. And in case you haven't noticed by this, it's 7:30 in the morning and it is sweltering here in South Texas, and That's how the tenants are going to have to live with this place unless we get some AC in here. So let's go outside and take a look at what's in the back of the truck for the AC units. 4th of July weekend, so nobody's going to be here right now. And we have our brand new AC units. These are 18,000 BTU Pioneer units, and they are going to be perfect. We spec'd them out specifically for this size of apartment, and I went up another 10% because of uninsulated walls. Actually, I think it was up 20% because of uninsulated walls and the type of windows. All that stuff was part of the calculation for purchase through the website, actually through Pioneer. And if you happen to be a veteran, the Pioneer company will give you 10% off if you purchase directly from them, as opposed to buying from like a big box store. Home Depot changed their benefits for veterans to where you can only get a benefit up to $500. And Lowe's, well, I've had a lot of issues with Lowe's. They do honor it a little bit more, but honestly, the best bang for the buck was buying it directly from the company. You just have to wait a little bit longer, and that's shipping included and everything. So would highly recommend that. Yeah, that's what we don't want right there. Going into the house. What's up? Another patron of Whataburgers had a heart attack. Holy shiitake mushroom. Just fire ants everywhere. Electrical still looks good. Side of the house still looks good. Oof, my gosh. So the glazing is what holds these windows in right here. And not only that, but this like tongue and groove portion of the actual bottom of the window has just completely come out. And I don't even see it anywhere on the floor. You can see these little pieces here. This is more the glazing. This whole thing is just very, very, very rickety. I'm not interested in replacing any of those windows. After a ton of research, essentially they kind of come out to say that you would never make your money back off of those windows in efficiency. So we just need them to be safe, secure, and basically keep the water and the heat and the cold out. So what was pointed out to me is this AC unit, as it drips down to all this electrical, is a really terrible idea. So we're gonna have to remedy that as well. We're gonna have to pull that out of the wall. That's it for the update on the Steve's house. This time, come back next time. We're gonna actually start doing some projects on this now that the contractors have gotten a lot of the drywall and stuff done. I appreciate you guys checking in. If you could go down there and make that subscribe button turn from red to gray, hit the little bell icon for notifications, like, comment, ask questions. I'm down. I have a lot of spare time to comment on these sometimes whenever I'm traveling, but huge project, and hope you guys join me for the next one. See you.